For anyone interested in what races are currently available in Baldur's Gate 3 Early Access, there are currently 8 races available and a selection of sub-races, keeping in mind that this is Early Access and more races will most likely be added in the future. The first type of race available to you in Baldur's Gate 3 on the Character Select tab is the Elf. If you want to take a look at your character, you can spin them around and take a look at them, or spin them really wildly and maybe make their hair physics go wild. Anywho, there's 2 sub-races of elves, High Elf and Wood Elf. The High Elf has a cantrip available to them of their choosing from among this list, whereas the Wood Elf does not. The racial feature of the elf, the baseline racial features, are listed here. Keen senses, Fey ancestry, dexterity +2, longsword, shortsword, longbow, and shortbow proficiencies, as well as dark vision up to 12 meters. This is the same between the High Elf and the Wood Elf. The sub-race traits are where things vary a little bit. The base racial speed of the High Elf is 9 meters. The base racial speed of the Wood Elf is 10.5. The High Elf gains +1 to Intelligence, whereas the Wood Elf gains +1 to Wisdom, as well as Mask of the Wild, which allows them to gain a little more proficiency in Stealth. The second race available to you is the Tiefling. There are 3 sub-races, the Mephistopheles Tiefling, the Zerial Tiefling, and the Asmodeus Tiefling. All 3 of them have the baseline Hellish Resistance and Dark Vision up to 12 meters. The Mephistopheles Tiefling has a base movement speed of 9 meters, which is the base for all 3 of the Tieflings. They also gain +1 to Intelligence and +2 to Charisma, and a cantrip which cannot be changed. The Zerial gains +1 to Strength and the 2 to Charisma, and Thaumaturgy cantrip. The Asmodeus gains +1 Intelligence, +2 Charisma, and Thaumaturgy. The third race available to you is the Drow Elf. There are 2 sub-races, the Seldarine and the Lolthsworn. They appear to have all the same racial features, as well as the same starting cantrip. The only difference at the moment that I can see seems to be the background story, which may come into play during the main game. The fourth race available to you is your standard human, which in D&D is basically a jack of all trades that can be pretty much any class in the game and has just a baseline of +1 to all their stats. The fifth race available to you, which I'm hoping I pronounced properly, is the Githyanki. I've heard other people pronounce it the Githyankai or etc. Anyways, I don't know the actual pronunciation. They have a base movement speed of 9 meters. They have a +1 to Intelligence, a +2 to Strength, and proficiencies in light armor, medium armor, short swords, long swords, and great swords. They also start with a cantrip. The sixth race available is the Dwarf. There are 2 sub-races of Dwarf, Gold Dwarf and Shield Dwarf. Either race of Dwarf starts off with Dwarven Resilience, +2 to Constitution, Battle Axe, Hand Axe, Light Hammer, and Warhammer proficiencies, as well as Dark Vision up to 12 meters. The Shield Dwarf has a base movement speed of 7.5, +2 to Strength, Light Armor and Medium Armor proficiencies. whereas the Gold Dwarf gains Dwarven Toughness, a base racial speed of 7.5, and Wisdom +2. The 7th race available is the Half-Elf, of which there are 3 sub-races: the High Half-Elf, the Wood Half-Elf, and the Drow Half-Elf. The Half-Elves of all 3 types can select 2 bonus points to put into any stat, barring Charisma, which they already gain +2 in. You cannot, however, put both of these extra points into the same stat. They must be put into 2 separate stats. The Drow gains a subrace trait of a baseline cantrip which cannot be changed. The High Half-Elf gains a cantrip which can be changed from this list to be selected from. Nothing else. And the Wood Half-Elf will gain the Mask of the Wild subrace trait. The 8th and final race available currently in this early access build is the Halfling, of which there are 2 sub-races, the Lightfoot Halfling and the Strongheart Halfling. Both gain the features of Lucky and Dexterity +2. Subrace traits for the Strongheart Halfling are Strongheart Resilience, a base racial speed of 7.5, and Constitution +1. The Lightfoot Halfling is naturally stealthy, base racial speed of 7.5, and Charisma +1. I hope this guide was helpful to you, and I wish you the best of luck in your adventures in Faerun and beyond.